Okay, welcome back to my video podcast on the future of business and technology. Today I am in Boston at IBM Think, and today's topic is generative artificial intelligence and how we make it work inside the enterprise, especially around automation, automating business processes. We will look at HR, business intelligence, and other business processes that you can now automate using digital technology, using generative AI. And IBM calls this digital labor, and I'm super excited. I'm joined today by Parul Mishra, who is the Vice President for Product Management for digital labor software at IBM. So welcome.
Thank you, I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, so nice to have you with us. So maybe we can start by you giving us an overview of what digital labor is at IBM and how organizations can use it to automate their business processes.
Absolutely. This is the burning question that every enterprise is trying to solve.
Yeah.
How do you solve for productivity for employees?
Yeah.
And how do you free them up to do higher value work, find their purpose in the roles that they were hired to do, as opposed to manual work, copy-pasting data, trying to find information that's trapped in silos, or even logging into systems, putting their credentials in, and just a lot of, we call it drudgery of work. And so digital labor is our portfolio that presents AI assistants that are a combination of automation and generative AI, and perfect for enterprises that have complex business processes like HR, procurement, the classic bread and butter processes that every enterprise has, and also brings in the generative AI. So the goodness of everything that we are experiencing in the world today, from generative AI to summarization, all of that goodness comes in, and now it's infused in a knowledge worker's workflow. So that's, to us, digital labor. It's a portfolio that really allows employees, knowledge workers, to be more productive without having to write lines of code, but very easily customize and personalize their AI assistants as well.
Yeah, this is such an exciting time, isn't it? Because lots of the value that generative AI promises to deliver comes through driving internal efficiencies, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we can look at some practical examples. I'd like to look at HR. Do you have any good examples that really illustrate how this technology can help automate processes?
Oh, absolutely. HR is nearest and dearest to my heart because IBM HR was one of our first client zero use cases.
Yeah.
And IBM HR took the technology, but also drove the cultural transformation that comes with technology. And it took about 6 to 7 years for us to go from what used to be very manual processes, HR partners doing one-on-one conversations, answering the same question multiple times, to now it's completely self-served, and it's based on our Watson Orchestrate platform, which is all based off of watsonX generative models. And now every employee at IBM goes to this one place and is able to ask any question related to HR. Could be as simple as, how many vacation days do I have left? Or what is the policy for hiring in a different country? Or it could be automation tasks, like I have an employee that I would like to move from my department to a different department. Typically for these kind of tasks, people would have to go log into an application tracking system.
Yeah.
Then they would have to figure out, how do I find my department? How do I find the recipient's department? And would typically 20 to 30 steps just to do that. But now with natural language, and the natural language actually is responsive. So as you're saying, I would like to move my employee, you get the options of all the employees that you have.
Okay.
So it's a very guided experience, not a chatbot that we have known for last couple of years, because when you bring in conversational state management into that conversation, when you bring in slot filling, when you bring in intent classification, that's where all of the magic happens. So Ask HR has seen tremendous success within IBM, and I personally am a user. I have not logged into any of the systems since Ask HR has been in place.
Yeah, very good. So, and how does it work when you build these assistants and these applications? What's the process then? Is that complicated?
It used to be complicated, and that's not an IBM statement. It used to be complicated in the industry because the technology wasn't there.
Yeah.
With generative AI, what we are doing at IBM is we're not just using generative AI to answer questions. We're actually trying to leverage LLMs to be able to help create assistants, to be able to route some of the user requests to the right assistants. So with some of that technology, I demoed earlier today that within minutes, a knowledge worker can come and configure an assistant that's able to answer questions, that's able to perform tasks on their behalf, logging into systems, getting data within minutes.
Yes.
And that is the power that's shifting from a lot of heavy-handed technical experts to knowledge workers.
Yeah.
And that's the productivity, because you cannot code every business process in a centralized fashion. So the more power we give to our employees to make their own jobs productive, the better off they are.
Yeah, I find this absolutely amazing, and just the power it brings to everyone, the people building the applications and the people using them. Across HR then, I can absolutely see the chatbot functionality about HR content, HR policies. What other use cases do you see across HR?
Perfect question. So we're seeing multiple and variety of use cases within HR. And again, because the power has shifted to the HR professionals, they're finding opportunities to automate tasks like promotions. And employee promotions at IBM used to be a very rigorous spreadsheet-based activity, where, of course, HR partners have to collect input from every manager. Manager has to fill out all of the criteria. Now all of that is being done on Orchestrate. Talent acquisition is another use case where, as you know, finding the right candidate is a challenge that actually fits the job description. And once you do find candidates, you have to email them, you have to follow up with them, then the scheduling of interviews starts, and there's so much manual work that goes in just finding the right candidate. So Orchestrate is being used as means to get talent acquisition processes streamlined and automated. There's also generative AI there because you want to generate the job description. So in all of these examples, the theme is it's generative AI and automation. And I feel that the more generative AI is becoming popular, people are just thinking about AI assistants in generative AI space. And there's so much more when you expand that to add automation, because an assistant or a digital labor should truly be at your disposal to be able to do anything that you're able to do, but more repetitive and manual, so you're freed up for higher value work.
The other area which I'm particularly excited about is using generative AI to help us analyze data.
Yes.
So this whole access to business intelligence. Organizations are full of data, but there's always this bottleneck, and there's also a skills gap. Do we have people that have the skills to find the data, analyze the data? And this applies to HR, but goes across the entire organization. Do you want to share a little bit more about what
Yes.
we are now offering?
We are very excited because we just launched our BI assistant, Business Insights Assistant. And just like you stated, a lot of data that first needs to be brought together, cleaned, governed, but then access to that data is still, I believe, there's a barrier to entry.
Absolutely.
And there are people and experts that need to make that data available to knowledge workers. It could be in the form of dashboards or report. But what if you could use natural language and just ask questions about how the data is, what are the insights from the data?
Yeah.
And that is unlocking the value of data, because data by itself is not interesting.
Yeah.
It's what you do with it and what actions you take based on that data is what moves the needle for the business. So we're very excited to launch an assistant that's very, very specific to just data and business insight space. And then the digital labor is more for manual work, for business processes across the enterprise. So together with getting very specific data insights and your business processes, it's the challenge that every enterprise faces.
Amazing. And beyond the use cases we've talked about, what other areas are you particularly excited about, or you see potential for organizations to really leverage digital data in their organization?
So we started with HR because of our strong advocacy within IBM HR, but quickly, once people realized the value they were getting and how easy it is to build assistants, it caught up like within multiple areas. So now we have procurement use cases, we have some finance use cases in cash collection, in invoicing. So really any back-end business process where there are multiple systems and a lot of manual data back and forth, and the need for generative AI is ripe for this kind of technology. And the demo that I did earlier was on sales. And again, if you think about sales professionals, they should really be facing clients and selling our products and services. But instead, sadly, they're always just flipping between screens and trying to contact leads. So sales is another example where we're launching Orchestrate within IBM, and there's a lot of interest from our users and customers for sales as well.
Yeah, and I watched your presentation, and what I liked is also the integration with other apps and partners.
That's the key. And I truly, truly believe that generative AI is very interesting. There's a lot of potential there. But end of the day, there are core systems that enterprises work off of. And most enterprises, even smaller companies, need a place, right, to store their invoices. They need the SAPs. They need a CRM to track leads. They need procurement systems. So how do you connect to those and build an ecosystem? And so we've been partnering with all of these. And the great thing is everybody sees the potential of building an ecosystem where there's no barrier for the user to be able to get the right information and then do something meaningful with that.
What are your top tips for organizations that want to really use digital labor in their organizations? What are some of the pieces of advice you give managers, leaders who want to use this? Have you seen any barriers that organizations need to overcome, any key success factors that need to be in place to really make it work?
My advice always is start somewhere. It doesn't have to be a big, grand transformation project, right? Even a small use case that is built with the right technology will get users interested. And once that happens, you create advocates within the company. And then once that demand builds up, then the adoption is much easier and the transformation becomes much easier. And the good thing is that users are demanding that today because of the way consumer technology has evolved and how people have become so comfortable with chatting in natural language and expecting response to that. That behavior and expectation is coming into the enterprise world. And there isn't a great solution today within businesses to do that. And users are having this big dichotomy where consumer side, they're getting everything from ordering food to ordering a car share, right? on their phone, but then they come to work and they have to navigate this complexity and green screens and typing the syntax. And I think that will have to evolve as well to become extremely accessible for users and just natural language and get the task done.
Very good. Let's take a look into the future. I mean, I can see applications of this technology in pretty much every single business process. But where's all of this going? What are you excited about? Where do you see this in 5 years' time?
What is really exciting is if we can blend in the worlds of AI and automation. Automation has been the bread and butter, right? We've tried as technologists to automate manual tasks, and we have, every company has spent a lot of time and energy to automate the processes. But that has created a different problem where there are so many automations and they're all fragmented, and everything is automated, and now we're getting overwhelmed with those automations. On the other side, AI has picked up, and there are so many models, and there are so many things you can do with AI. But if you could bring those worlds together and let the AI assistant figure out what the user needs. And the way I believe a user interacts with technology is they may ask a question, or they may ask for some task to be done, or they may just want to have a conversation. So it could be a variety of things, but you shouldn't be directed to a spot for a task, and then, because otherwise it defeats the purpose of having that one place. So I think the AI assistant technology will become so sophisticated in the next couple of years, and it won't just be models, it'll be agents, and it'll be an agentic framework where multiple agents are handling multiple things, breaking down a very sophisticated natural language request into pieces, routing it to the right spot, getting all that outcome back, and then synthesizing it in a way that it saves the context of the question. That is a technology gap right now. I think we're all trying to get there, but that would be a real, like, you're augmented very much through your role, but you're getting real help to do your job.
Amazing. That's so exciting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure.
Yeah. For anyone who ever wants to rewatch any of those episodes, simply head to my YouTube channel. Thank you.